On today's episode of The Unwritten Rule, presented by FanDuel, we recapped the Arkansas game, just kind of gave our lingering takeaways, talked about some broader stuff too, had a good convo about Matt Zollers and Beau Pribula and who might start in the bowl game after what Missouri did and how they kind of used Beau Pribula in Saturday's game against Arkansas, but just gave some additional takeaways too, talked about the running game and Ahmad Hardy being awesome again and Josiah Trotter being awesome again, all that usual fun stuff. So there's plenty of good convo about that and just kind of recapping the final game, taking our last takeaways from the regular season as Mizzou ended the Bobby Petrino reign in Fayetteville, as it turned out. So there you go. So yeah, some takeaways from that. Touched briefly on the Notre Dame game for men's basketball. Just kind of looked ahead to that because that is on Tuesday, and so we will have a recap of that as well as a KU preview. It's getting real now for Mizzou men's basketball. Got real for Mizzou women's basketball as well. Talked about that in quick hits with their win over Northwestern and ripping off 3 on the bounce after losing to Troy. So good results for them. And talked all of this college football chaos with the playoff, Lane Kiffin, the coaching carousel stuff. We looked at bowl projections for Mizzou. So a ton of just broader college football talk as well. And I mentioned Mizzou basketball. I meant to say this after Mizzou beat Cleveland State. I like to look at the longevity lines and the future stuff for Mizzou. Just some fun long shot odds. They're now plus 1,700 on FanDuel to win the SEC in the regular season. Could be interesting. Getting hot. Things are heating up with how some of the other schools in that conference did. You can get them at plus 10,000 to win the whole NCAA tournament. 2,500 to reach the Final Four. You could also bet on Mark Mitchell to win the Wooden Award. So if you want some futures, and then there will be plenty of game props as these games get into the thick of it too for Mizzou men's basketball. So there you go. Some speculating about Mizzou football and the kind of immediate future looking ahead to the bowl game, as well as the Arkansas recap, which we'll get into. The Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is Monday, December 1st. Happy December, Peyton and Kenny. You can now put your Christmas decorations up. What's your guys' stances on that? Are you after Thanksgiving only people, or can you have them up November 1st? What's your Christmas decor stance? Do you have one?
Yeah, I thought Ahmad Hardy played very well in this game. He definitely. No, I'm kidding. We're
Kenny
literally.
won't answer, so you have to carry this, Peyton.
We are firm. We are a firm. Do not put anything up until Thanksgiving, family. Thanksgiving did roll around. We did get more accurately, my father and I went and got the Christmas decorations from the attic and placed them down for my stepmom to come and use. I don't have a hand in that except for decorating the tree. But that does not occur until Thanksgiving Day. Not a day earlier, not a day later. We don't even turn on our Christmas lights until after.
Okay. I've grown. Oh, sorry, Kenny. Do you have a stance? What's your Christmas?
I didn't know. Am I allowed to?
Oh no, I mean, you allow yourself to or not to. So
I'm actually sitting at my mother's dining room table right now. I'm looking out the window and I can see the Christmas decorations I put out the other day. We have a metal Bart Simpson. Metal art is a big thing in Houston, and so it's a old piece of metal turned into Bart Simpson. He's holding a present. We've had it for a decade, and I'm looking at him right now.
There you go.
My shorts.
Adam Cole would be so proud. Friend of the show. I kind of like. I think I'm in general agreement. Like I think waiting till after Thanksgiving is the most apropos. That said, if you're one of those people that has the elaborate, like super crazy yard decorations, I feel like I lean a little bit like you could put those up earlier because those are hard to set up and take down. You might as well have it for a bit longer. So kind of depends on the house. But if you're like an indoor only decorations, like I think, after Thanksgiving is reasonable.
I think it's probably a newer thing. I don't know. I don't really have much reference for it, but people who put up their lights before Thanksgiving, it's a lot cheaper if you pay someone to do it then. Like a lot of these companies
Oh, that
have
would make
deals.
sense. Yeah.
It's like hundreds of dollars off if you do it early.
That would make sense. You just got to pull the Clark Griswold and go up on the roof and staple them all, and it's DIY.
Kenny's never seen that movie.
I haven't. I'll be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Happy holidays, everybody. Missouri got a nice start to the month, a nice finish to the regular season on the gridiron. They beat Arkansas 31-7, taking the Battle Line Trophy back to Columbia, or I guess keeping it in Columbia. It made a short trip down to Fayetteville for the game, and then we'll go right back up to Missouri's trophy cabinet because they retain the trophy, finish the regular season 8-4, which is another nice note, a chance for a 9-win season. In the bowl game, which we'll find out the fate of next Monday's show. We'll know more on that a little bit later. But guys, I wanted to ask you some moments, some stats. We could kind of breeze through a recap of this game. Not exactly a shocker. Arkansas was winning this game at halftime, but this is a very depleted Razorbacks outfit. And I think you could tell that by the 73 yards of offense they managed to generate in the final two quarters. So Payton, I'm going to start with the most fun moment of this game for a guy that I think everyone in the Missouri sect was very happy to see him have a kind of big moment and end his regular season on a good note. And that's the punt return by Kevin Coleman Jr. that sort of, broke this game open at the end. Arkansas was very much in it and punted back to Mizzou. And you kind of felt, all right, Tigers need, a good drive here, take some time off the clock, get a score. There you go. And Kevin Coleman took matters into his own hands. It was an awesome punt return. And I feel like just very fitting for a guy who has come back. He's had just a weird, like you look at his game log and has had some weird games and then some games where he's put up a lot of good stats, at receiver. I thought this was a nice moment for him. And also we can talk about this, put a bow on another kind of sour special teams performance. But Payton, the man of the hour, Kevin Coleman, I wanted to give him some love at the beginning of this show because I thought that was good for him to get that punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, the punt return touchdown was like putting a lot of sprinkles on a turd in terms of special teams performance. Not by any of Kevin Coleman's doing. He was a great punt returner all year, but man, just another awful, straight up putrid, rotten day for Mizzou special teams. It is really funny that the game essentially ended because of a special teams play. Good for Kevin Coleman. He was a player that I think Missouri honestly wasn't able to get the full potential out of simply by virtue of just really not having the answers at quarterback I think they wanted. It's not any of his fault, really. The drop against Oklahoma was unfortunate. But really, other than that, I can't think of a lot of bad plays he even had. He was really a net positive, certainly felt like a wide receiver one a lot of the year. Not like a true, maybe like elite, throw the ball up and he'll definitely come down with it guy, but definitely a great player that I really do hope scouts like can kind of see through the issues Missouri was working through on offense and like give him a chance on an NFL roster because he is very shifty. He's a fun player. I think in the right place, he can definitely blossom into something. So I do agree with you. It was a good moment for him, a St. Louis kid coming back home, trying to at least leave a mark a little bit.
I thought coming, for those first couple games of the season, I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to have a better season than Luther did last year? And you talk about, trying to overlook maybe some issues at quarterback. I'm sure the Bears kind of did that with Luther. And I'm not going to say Kevin Coleman has the same potential as Luther Burden does in the NFL, but teams have probably done it before. Brady Cook was injured last season and, probably didn't have the best offensive year that many were expecting either. But Kevin Coleman still had a handful of 100-yard receiving games. Kansas, UMass, Vanderbilt, and I think I mentioned it after the Oklahoma game, 115 against Oklahoma. Don't think I really would have, pegged him for that many, but I mean, there were still some great performances there, and still some tough ones too when you only have one reception for 2 yards against Alabama, and then one reception for 1 yard against Texas A&M, and I believe some of those were just end arounds or little pop passes. But it's it's another one of those cases just with Luther is what if what could have been, but I still think it was a good finish to possibly his career in the SEC.
Yeah, that you said it, Kenny. I was going to read them all because his game logs, I feel like, single-handedly explain the roller coaster that this passing offense has been. 48 yards, 126 yards, 84, 20, 108, 2, 61, 109, 1, 41, 115. And then despite the punt return, no catches, no yards. And he had one touchdown all year. For the wide receiver one for an SEC team that won 8 games in the regular season. It was so strange. But Payton, you nailed it. I do hope an NFL team kind of gives him a chance, because I think he's got a lot of talent there, and if you can look through kind of the issues that Missouri went through at quarterback and on offense, it's always a good moment for him. Clearly a good returner too. I'll get Payton an additional take if you want to offer anything else on the special teams. I thought it was especially funny on the punt return because I said this out loud watching the game. It almost felt like Missouri too. Like you watch Kevin Coleman return that punt. There's no gunners down there for Missouri. I said in an earlier one that it looked like they were setting up, trying to account for a potential fake. They obviously got beat on a fake earlier in the year against A&M. That was a big play. And then Kevin Coleman still managed to rip off a punt return for touchdown. But I thought that otherwise I thought the punt for coverage formation was very weird. And that was not obviously the only thing that was weird with special teams. Yet again, 4th highest paid staff in the SEC now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the goal is to make it look like the 4th highest paid staff in general. And I don't see a world where that includes Eric Link. I mean, it really was the perfect ending to what should be the last game Eric Link coaches at Mizzou. I'm really sorry I hate trying to be the fire the coach guy nowadays, but it's just beyond ridiculous. I mean, we've had games this year where Missouri has had garbage kicking, garbage blocking, garbage punting, including yesterday, and garbage snapping now. I mean, every single facet of special teams play, outside of, I guess, they didn't give up a kickoff return touchdown, so good there. And I don't remember if they gave up a punt return touchdown either. So good job on that account, I guess. Bare minimum job done. But other than that, really just one of the least pleasurable experiences I've ever had as a sports fan watching this special teams unit try and go to work. There were really only 2 names that I could come up with as reasons Missouri was not winning that game by 40 at half, and they were Beau Pribula, who I'm sure we'll talk about, also didn't play well yesterday, and Eric Link. I mean, it was truly a pathetic effort in this game, save for the touchdown at the end. And I guess Oliver Robbins made a 41-yarder. It was pretty solidly good. Why was he not kicking all year? Why did they try that Meyer gimmick? That was weird. We'll probably never see Meyer attempt to kick again. I mean, I'd hate to be blunt, but Blake Craig will be back next year. I don't see a world where he's really back and kicking. So, whatever. Hopefully that's the last time we have to talk about special teams miscues for a long time, because I'm tired of it. It's literally all 12 weeks I think we've had to bring it up because it was just that bad week in and week out.
With Oliver Robbins too, I think I texted you guys this. I think he's kind of earning himself a job maybe somewhere else too. He's not going to kick next year if Blake Craig is healthy, and if there's an opportunity for him to go kick at a school like Charlotte, I'm just throwing out random group of 6 schools, and why I said no. He knows why I picked Charlotte.
Okay.
He knows why I picked Charlotte. There was a Charlotte kicker that was interested in Mizzou at one point.
His name was Steven Rusnick.
Yep, Steven Rusnick. It was that was like a 10-minute interview too with a kicker. Those guys rock, specialists rock. But with that too, Payton, I think you just had to go to Robert Meyer. I don't, maybe it lasted a lot longer than it did. Oliver Robbins was a walk-on from Florida Memorial. Like, I don't think they were really expecting him to do that much this year. And maybe I'll add all that trust to begin with. And, if Robert Meyer was supposed to be your future kicker once Blake Craig was done in college, then you give him that shot. But I do agree with you that it took a lot longer to actually fix that than it should have.
I hear you on that, and I don't want to belabor the special teams point in a rivalry game that Missouri won. We should go and talk about some positives, but I mean, did they never let Robbins and Meyer kick in practice? I mean, I feel like at a certain point, it had to be so night and day between these two. I have no idea. I'm not in the room. Maybe in the middle of the year, they realized Meyer wasn't going to work out and said, "Hey, Oliver, you want to try and kick the ball through the uprights and we'll see how it looks?" And they realized, oh, geez, he can do this a lot better. But it feels like another very big head scratcher from Link why Robbins was not immediately the guy after Craig went down, because it is so night and day between those two.
Yeah.
We'll never get the answer. I mean, that's
No, we
the thing
won't.
too. And I mean, it's hard to, go back and forth on this. And we're spending a lot of time talking about special teams here. But the punter, I mean, I liked Connor Wesselman. Right? Am I saying?
Yeah.
Why
Okay,
why
yeah.
are you all of a
Sorry.
sudden
Because
questioning?
I was thinking of Bryson Wessel and I was getting them
Oh.
mixed. But I'm saying it's like it's hard to just even question any of the thought process when you had a punter come in and there was no real battle at the punter spot. You brought in a JUCO product to come in as well, and those are your two options. And your one punter hadn't punted in an actual game in 2 years. So I think that's just something that goes with that too. Is it's just even hard. It's hard to even question anything that really any decision that was made this year.
It's wild. It feels again like a perfect ending potentially, if that is going to be what it is. And you mix in the punt return for touchdown just makes it even funnier. Kenny, zagging off of the special teams. I'm glad I started with that. We ended up getting to get that out of the way. But let's go to the good for on the offensive side of the ball for Missouri first and foremost. And it's it seems like there's only, normally I'd ask what your takeaway was, but it really feels like there's only one answer in terms of the shining star again on the offensive side of the ball for Missouri. It was the running game. Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts, both of them over 100 yards for the third time this season. Hardy, they were force feeding him at the end of the game. He had 27 for 157 and a touchdown. Jamal Roberts averaged 9.1 yards a carry, 11 for 100 and a touchdown. Beau Pribula chuck in 78 yards and a touchdown for him. There was a moment there where you thought Missouri might have, or potentially we're going to get three players over 100 rushing yards. Ahmad Hardy had somehow one-upped the Vanderbilt touchdown for his lone score, where he's just in a pile being dragged down by the biggest defender on the field. And then I think it was 91 for Arkansas. And then he slithers out of there and scampers 52 yards for a touchdown. I mean, I don't really know what else to say at this point. The guy is freaking awesome. He was the second highest graded player, we should note, from PFF on offense behind Keegan Trost, the right tackle, which Payton, I know that'll make him very happy. But Kenny, your takeaway on the offensive side of the ball, running game for Mizzou.
Yeah, shocker that it was Keegan Trost as the top graded offensive player. I think Payton and I even talked about that after the Oklahoma game. We were like, oh, not a lot of guys had good days on the offense side of the ball, and then there's Keegan Trost who had the best one. I thought some people said it really well, and I think Anthony Christensen tweeted this one. Jack of Missouri wanted to run the ball. Arkansas knew Missouri was going to run the ball. Missouri knew it was going to run the ball, and Arkansas still couldn't stop it. And I thought that was just kind of like the perfect way to sum it up, is that, Missouri knew that there was a weakness there. And you saw it at the beginning of the game, too. It wasn't just Ahmad Hardy. Beau Pribula had two great runs to open that game. And it looked like it was going to be a very creative and, offensive pivot from the last couple of weeks, and ended up not being that way. You only attempt 7 passes in this game. And you just try to figure everything else out on the ground. And I think it was a good way to finish out the year, and it looked like Drinkwitz was trying to get Ahmad Hardy that record as well near the end, and keep running the ball and not just kneel it out. But overall, I think it is a good step forward. You want to continue to just try to open up the passing game by getting the run game going. And this bowl game, whatever it may be, hopefully the Texas Bowl, will be an opportunity to see if they can really figure out that passing game before next season. And don't know if Beau Pribula will be the quarterback then. You don't know which wide receivers will be back, but it will be probably behoove them to figure that out, especially for a guy like Donovan Olubade that probably wants to be a part of a offense where he gets the ball. And there's going to be teams that will want to poach him away from Missouri.
Payton, I'm going to ask you that question because Kenny translated it perfectly. Also, he beat you to behoove. I'm going to make a behoove counter for you too, and we're going to keep track of whoever gets to say it first.
Every behoove Kenny has said in his life is because of me.
It's not true.
I'm just going to keep the counter.
I'm pretty sure I got behoove from Brian McTaggart, the Astros writer for MLB.com. My good pal, Brian. I'm pretty sure I got it from him. I did not get it from you, Payton.
He'll admit it one day, Jack. It's okay.
Payton, this was, again, I said this to you guys off air. There are some stats from this game that I really want to look up if the last time Missouri or Arkansas has done some of these things, including the last time that Missouri has had a quarterback attempt less than 10 passes in a game. This was the closest I have ever seen a team literally run the ball for every play and take that as literally as you can take it. With what Missouri did in their offensive game plan. Like Kenny said, Arkansas had no answer for the run. But Beau Pribula was 4 of 7 for 25 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He did lose a fumble in a very comedic fashion that would have haunted the internet forever if Missouri didn't win this game, where it kind of slips out of his hands as he turned to throw it, falls right into the lap of an Arkansas guy who runs it back for a touchdown. I want to get your thoughts, Payton, with when you now look ahead to this bowl game, because Kenny makes some really good points. I think you have a guy in Matt Zollers who has flashed some stuff. It seems like he's going to be the QB of the future. And, I admire Beau Pribula. I think we all thought he was going to be out for the season when that Vanderbilt injury happened. He tries to grind his way back, but it just, now the regular season's in the books. And I think that, not the jury's out. That's not the right phrase, but I don't think anyone is too convinced with what they have seen from him at the QB position. And I think does it create for you a potential dilemma with how you approach this bowl game in terms of maybe you get the guy of the future some reps? How do you turn to that? If you're Eli Drinkwitz, I think there's some real conversation that feels like it's going to be had ahead of the bowl game for who starts and how those snap counts go.
Yeah, I think we have precedent for this. I mean, you go back to 2021 with Drink. We come into that season thinking Connor Bazelak's like the answer. He had a very nice, intriguing redshirt freshman year in 2020. 2021 just doesn't quite click the same. He wasn't downright terrible, but he wasn't what I think most fans were hoping for. And then in 2021, they go into the Armed Forces Bowl. They sit Bazelak down. They go to Brady Cook, and the rest is history. I think we're in a similar spot here, where I don't think the staff. I think it became very clear yesterday after Beau Pribula was strip sacked by air. They just don't trust Beau that much. They really don't, and I don't really blame them. I agree with you, Jack. Like, credit to him for really showing some toughness and somehow returning after that Vanderbilt injury. But it's not working out. You can't play football like this in 2025. Not everyone's going to have the Arkansas run defense. I don't think anybody really thinks he's going to be the guy going forward. So I kind of expect them to turn to Zollers in the bowl game. Maybe they'll do right by Beau and let him kind of put some tape out there, because I don't expect him to be back on the team next year. I think if he's not your guaranteed starter going into next year, I don't think anybody's going to want to have him kind of around as a distraction. I don't think Beau would want to be around having to compete for the job. So I do think if it were me, I would probably turn to Zollers. I get it if Missouri doesn't want to do that. Because, getting to 9 wins, I like, quite frankly, the way this team's offense has looked at times would be a miracle. It would mean they've averaged 10 wins a season in the last 3 years. That's not nothing. But I mean, you have to get the quarterback position right at a certain point. They really did get lucky with Brady Cook kind of having this really meteoric rise in 23 and being solid enough in 24 to win them game, to not lose them games at least. But they now are, I think, in maybe the biggest question mark at that position era that they've been under Drinkwitz. I don't know what to expect going into next year. So I think Zollers is your best chance at being a long-term guy of the guys currently on the roster. So I'd give him a chance in the bowl game and kind of use whatever you see in that game as kind of the basis for your approach to the portal. Kind of similar to what they did in 21. But yeah, that's how I'd play it. And regardless of opponent, whether it be Clemson or Iowa State or whoever. I'm not predicting Clemson, by the way. I'm just hoping Clemson, but I would turn to Zollers personally.
You're predicting Iowa State in the Texas Bowl.
One of the projections has that.
I don't know, man. There's so much Duke's Mayo in the air.
So much Duke's Mayo in the air. Yeah, and you said it a couple times. I mean, it felt like the launch pad for Brady Cook was that bowl game, and in terms of the confidence that it seemed to maybe give him, even though Missouri didn't win that game. And yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I turn to, unfortunately for Missouri fans, with it being a rival, like you look at a team like Oklahoma that also has a fantastic defense, and this isn't even a really good example this week because Mateer, I think, threw 3 picks against LSU and they could have lost that game, but he's guided them enough since he's come back from injury to keep them steady enough in games to win. And they don't nearly have the run game that Missouri does. And so you look at that in terms of even just having a stable quarterback with how good of a defense this team has, with how good a run game this team has, you do wonder, and you go back, I mean, it's just been a year from hell at that position. You go back to, if you could have turned to Sam Horn instead of Zollers after Beau Pribula gets hurt, maybe Missouri's able to pull out that Vanderbilt game. Maybe, you have some different conversations. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting week and couple weeks ahead of the bowl game in terms of what they decide to do with the future of that position. Kenny, I'll ask both of you this, but I'll start with you, Kenny. Back to this Arkansas game. And feel free to share any quarterback thoughts if you're so inclined. But defensively, shock and awe. Josiah Trotter is fucking awesome. A lot of Missouri defenders are awesome.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Language.
Whoa.
All right, he is. I don't really care because he has been so much fun to watch, and I want to express my appreciation for Josiah Trotter because he's what player who, in terms of having fun watching a guy play the linebacker position, he's the first guy in a while where I'm I just want to see him make a hit every time, and he's delivered time and time again. He had 10 tackles in this game. What did you like on defense, Kenny? I mentioned the 73 total yards for Arkansas in the second half. They sacked both Taylon Green and KJ Jackson they got 4 total sacks. Arkansas, weird stuff they were doing at QB. You talk about having some strangeness at the position. I don't know, but your thoughts on the defense for Mizzou?
Yeah, Josiah Trotter, he was tackling machine, 84.5 tackle grade. That's the highest for Missouri in this game. What's really weighing down his overall defensive grade of 61.3 is that coverage grade still isn't all that great. It's 49.6. And I've said it before, if he had the coverage skills of Chad Bailey, he might be a first rounder, just how good he is. And I know Payton's going to laugh at me for that one, but I mentioned it before. It's just, you could put these guys in a lab. I think you're creating a pretty good linebacker, but it's so obvious, that Drinkwitz really wants him to come back. Yeah, Drinkwitz doesn't retweet many things. I have his post notice on. I think he retweeted Josiah Trotter twice in the past couple of days. You saw him after the game, saying something to him on the field. I think Payton, you mentioned that you saw somewhere that he's in the top 40 for some people's mock drafts. And
someone had him in the top 40 on their big board. I would have to go back and try and find it, but
redshirt sophomore too. I mean, that's third year, and He has an opportunity to go to the league, but there's been a lot of Mizzou fans in his replies as well, trying to get him to stay. And you just keep looking at these defensive grades, and I mean, it would make sense if he went to the NFL and took that now.
It could behoove him to do either thing. Some would say. Oh, wow, I can't use it. What are we, gatekeeping words now?
It's my word. I'm going to
It's my
trademark
word.
it.
Your word that you stole from Payton.
Yeah, I guess that'll be kind of the biggest what if, right? Because you obviously, you've guys like Hardy who have to come back. I think we know Zion Young Zion Young's out of eligibility, so I guess he's gone either way. But with Trotter, yeah, there's definitely a compelling case to be made, and of course, with the money you can make in college now, it makes it easier. It's not as much of a no-brainer. But you shake your head, Payton.
I don't know if he's getting top 40 buzz, like he'll definitely get feedback.
Out.
He's out of here, man, and he should be. I mean, there's no reason for him to come back if he's already getting that type of buzz.
I think in my now half decade of Mizzou fandom since I started there, I think he might already be top 5 favorite players for me. He's just so much fun. He flies around. He's just a playmaker, and he hits hard. It's a fun, it's like a Legion of Boom type of player that I think everyone just enjoys. It's a hard-hitting linebacker.
I will add,
on
the linebacker spot too. I thought Nick Rodriguez is really having, a good finish to the year. Tackling, I saw one missed tackle, and I was like, okay, I know that color on PFF is going to be orange or red. It's 45.5 as his tackling grade, but I feel like he's turning the corner back to what he was at the beginning of the year, because I know he kind of wavered a little bit. I forgot which game it was where he had the personal foul.
I don't remember. Was it South Carolina?
I think it was Alabama.
It was something in the middle of the year.
Yeah, it was him and Zion. I think both had weird ones.
Yeah, so it's just stuff like that. It means it feels like it's cleaned up a little bit, and he's kind of getting back into that rhythm of being a possible option to be one of those starting linebackers moving forward. And I think once you kind of clean up the tackling and you can kind of fix that, I think you're looking at a guy that could really step in and for this linebacker group moving forward. You don't really have to rely on the portal as much.
I had some serious flashbacks to the 2024 iteration of this game that was also or 2023 rather, that was also in Fayetteville, because it got a little chippy with him. They did not like the very clean hit that he had knocking Jackson out of bounds, and then almost got there was almost some fisticuffs, which of course there were fisticuffs in the 2023 one. Cooler heads prevailed this time, but that gave me some flashbacks. But I agree, Kenny, he's been good these last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, this is an Arkansas team that committed 16 penalties or whatever it was yesterday. Not exact. They're 2-10 now. I mean, just total third-rate program problems. I mean, of course they're going to try and fight. They've got nothing better to do. They're no good at football.
16 for 121 yards. Wild stuff.
It did remind me of that 2023 game too, Payton. With how many was it Membu who got kicked out?
There was ejections from that one. I was getting some flashbacks because Petrino was screaming on the sidelines about it, and that was making me unhappy because Pittman was doing the same stuff. So apple doesn't fall far, but Missouri gets things done, wins the game. Any other final takeaways, players you wanted to bring up, performances?
I'll shout out Chris McClellan, another very unsung hero. I believe he finished the year with 5 sacks. Just a monster year from him. I'm no scout, but that definitely looks like a Sunday player to me. It's a shame this defense really wasn't given a passing game to kind of give it the shine it deserved. I mean, this was a unit that was playoff level good, no doubt in my mind. Definitely just wanted to shout out Chris McClellan. Always fun. I really enjoy this Arkansas series because I don't like Arkansas at all. And man, they do not put up much of a fight in these games. It's really pathetic.
One shout out highlight I'll throw out there. I think it was on a 3rd down, and his PFF grade reflected it. Toriano Pride had an awesome open field tackle that was like a good stuff moment. Everyone was very happy about that. I think it was a third down, and he had to make a one-on-one tackle.
Catalan had one of those too.
Catalan had one too. Yeah, him and Toriano Pride were good. Talk about another guy who's I feel like come along late with Nick Rodriguez. Pride's had some good games here.
Yeah, the secondary really didn't wind up being as much a problem as we thought it might be. It really never once was a reason I thought they were going to lose a game.
We'll have to we'll revisit our predictions after the bowl game. That'll be very exciting. There will be some good ones and some really awful ones. Matt Zoller's one snap. You didn't have the foresight, obviously, but that is funny that we have that on air. Kenny, any final takeaways from you?
I did see one Arkansas fan, and I always think it's fun when another fan base can kind of accept where the program is. The fan said, why even bring that trophy down here? Why even lug that big old thing down here if you're just going to take it right back? And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, 150 pounds or whatever it is. They say that every year, how much the trophy weighs.
There is, it kind of does speak. There is such a gigantic disparity between these programs right now. Because I saw someone tweet, I think it was just an Arkansas reporter or fan or something like that. Shout out Connor Goodson on X, the Everything app. It all happens on X. Connor Goodson tweeted this. Arkansas officially ends the 2025 season 2-10. Here's how the past 10 regular seasons have finished. And he listed all the records. Their best record in the regular season in the last 10 years since 2016 is 8-4 in 2021 when they went 4-4 in SEC play. And mind you, Drink got behind the microphone yesterday after Mizzou did the exact same thing, 8-4, 4-4. And he said, yeah, this was a good, not great year. The bars between these two programs could not be any differing height, like any more different. It's just night and day, and it really pretty much always shows up on the field as well.
Yeah. So there you go. Missouri wins the battle line rivalry, gets the trophy back to Columbia in relatively smooth fashion, and gave us some good stuff to keep an eye on ahead of the bowl game, which we'll find out next week. Let's talk a little hoop before we go to quick hits, because Missouri men's basketball there'll be an action on Tuesday, December 2nd. So we won't have another show before this game. We will recap it afterwards. So we wanted to fit this in now because it's finally Power 5. I guess the second Power 5 game of Missouri men's basketball schedule. They're going to play Notre Dame on Tuesday. Missouri also, since we spoke last, did beat Cleveland State. I will admit for all three of us, it was Thanksgiving period. None of us really watched this game. I know Missouri was up 24-0 at one point to start the game. So good stuff. Mizzou got the Dennis Gates. I think it was that, and that Gates went to Rob Summers' press conference were my two big takeaways from that game. So took care of business.
One thing I did notice in that game, and it endeared me, Rob Summers, I don't know if he took this from Gates directly or not. He wears a suit on the sidelines, so respect to Rob Summers for that. We are a suit basketball coach podcast, 100%.
I also appreciate I appreciate Dennis Gates outdoing Rob Summers on the substitutes too. Rob Summers, 5 bench players played. Dennis Gates, 6. Can't have the prodigy beating the student beating the teacher on that.
Yeah.
So deep rotation. I didn't even actually look initially. Sebastian Mack, Mark Mitchell, Luke Northweather, and Anar Boateng all co-led in scoring. They all had 10. Oh no, sorry. Jacob Cruz at 20 off the bench. What am I saying? So they all were second in scoring. Jacob Cruz had another good game. So Mizzou will play Notre Dame, and this is actually pretty compelling after Notre Dame's week. They had a much more eventful last few days than Mizzou did. But first of all, that game will tip off at definitely not approximately, 8 p.m. On December 2nd. ESPNU is where you can watch it. No more SEC Network Plus. We're done with that for at least a game. But Notre Dame, they have some interesting tape now from the last week. They were over in Vegas. They played in the Players era. So played 3 games over there. They played Kansas, Houston, and Rutgers. They went 1-2. They beat Rutgers by 5, lost to Kansas and to Houston, but lost both those games only by 10 points. So this is this should be an interesting one for Mizzou. This is a Notre Dame team. I know we have a close colleague from our Mizzou days in Jack Sobel who covers them now. kind of has kept us updated a little bit. This should be an interesting one, guys, for Mizzou. I think a decent litmus test after they played Kansas and Houston, two really good programs, pretty close.
Yeah, it's kind of go time now for Mizzou. I mean, this week they've got they got the ACC SEC challenge against Notre Dame on the road, mind you.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say it's also the ACC SEC
yeah,
challenge.
and then it's border war time at Z-Bolt Mobile Center. I mean, this is a huge week for just kind of finding out what this team. I think you can really kind of set expectations for this team off this week. They've had one real game where you could kind of assess a lot of things, like against Minnesota, and they passed that test. Credit to them. I still think their best half of the season was the second half against Minnesota. But Notre Dame, I think, is probably a better team. Marcus Burton, who I know when we did the way too early preview with Jack Sobel in the summer, was a guy we highlighted. Comes in as just this very high level scorer, over 20 points a game. So it's going to be a big week. I don't know if Kansas will have Peterson or not by the time this game is back. They didn't have him in Vegas.
I'm going to give a guess. I believe he will come back for UConn and then will be available. That's my
lucky Mizzou.
I don't have any intel on that, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, so it's going to be a big week for Ant Robinson in particular. He's kind of been stop and start, not really, just more passive and kind of in the flow throughout most of non-con. I'd like to see him kind of ramp it up this week. I think he needs to be at his best for Missouri to have their best chances. Just kind of got to find a way to disrupt Burton. Definitely, if Kansas has Peterson, he's got to fluster Peterson being a young guard. I know he's supposed to be a lottery pick and everything, maybe a top 5 pick in the draft, but Ant has shown the capability to be able to get in any guard's head he wants when he's at his best. So I'm really watching him in particular this week.
I only have two things just on these next couple of games, things that I think really matter. One is I do want to see if anything moves forward with Trent Pierce, if you're going to get him on into practice, or if anything will spark there. We've talked about it at length, and I think Payton made some good points about it in the past couple of weeks. Of is he really going to be up to speed to play and really contribute in some of these games when you're losing more of this non-conference schedule, and you're losing some of these bye games where it would be the best time to actually get him on the court and get him ready if he can play right now. My second thing is I think these next 2 games will be massive for Jacob Cruz. You don't have Jaden Stone in these games. You need a very efficient Jacob Cruz. You cannot have 5 missed 3-pointers like you did in the last time out before the Cleveland State game. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for him, is that he can really control this game behind the arc. And I think that would play a big part off the bench in the scoring there.
Ken Palm, by the way, Notre Dame is 73. Missouri is 30. We haven't had our friendly handy dandy Ken Palm check in. They have this as a 70
dandy Torvik.
That's true. You're right. Sorry. Shouldn't corrupt Torvik. They have this as a 76-74 win for Mizzou. Funnily enough, they have Kansas as a 76-74 loss for Mizzou. So same score lines between
Torvik is not as bullish on Mizzou's chances against Kansas.
Yeah, I wonder if the model is going to change for all that if Peterson plays or doesn't. I do think that, I mean, that is how much he'll impact, but there's still plenty of talent on that Kansas team. Yeah, shameless plug. I forgot to find the date when we did that podcast with our good friend Jack Sobel and previewed this game in like July, and Notre Dame and we got a good read on Notre Dame. Yeah, Payton mentioned Burton. Jalen Harrelson is their other double-digit scorer. He's averaging about 13 points per game. So there's one more name for you to know. So yeah, big week coming up for men's basketball when they take on Notre Dame and then play Kansas on the weekend. And with that, we'll segue, kick it to quick hits, and finish off the show on the other side. Okie dokie. Quick hits time. We'll finish the show. Kenny, What's your very cool and nifty original Ken Sports Shorts this week?
Well, do you want to kind of explain it, and then I'll pivot into the different way we're going to approach it?
Oh, you have a different way. Well, so we talked before the Arkansas game when Drinkwitz got extended about like how hard it is to find a coach that's kind of the do-it-all, basically Kirby Smart. It was like what coaches are in the Kirby Smart tier of elite in college football currently. And Payton rattled a few off. We were going to make a quiz out of it, and then I proceeded to not really think about it during this feast week. So we didn't form an actual quiz, but you say you have an alternative. The hell you say?
Yeah, it's not actually going to be like a quiz, but more so you guys get to vote, kind of like what we've done in the past. I'm going to go.
You know what we should have done was one of those speak if you see a better coach than thing and put the pictures up.
Oh yeah, that would have been fun.
Ripped off one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
like
for
that
good podcasting.
Yeah. Okay. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to give you 3 coaches from different conferences, and you guys tell me who you would think would be the best. I guess the best Kirby Smart out of the group.
Okay. Who's closest to Kirby Smart?
Yeah. Who's closest to just the all around, head football coach, and it's worked out well.
All
okay.
right,
we're going to start with the American. This one's a little bit tough because there's a lot of vacancies at the moment. But we're going to go with the coaches that are still here. I'm going to give you 3: Jeff Monken, Jeff Traylor, and Trey Lamb.
It's all Payton.
None of those 3.
Payton.
I mean, all the other ones left, the ones that would have made the most sense.
Trey Lamb went 4-8 this year. Like I know. He beat
Didn't
Oklahoma State, but
didn't
I'd have to go
UTSA
Monken because that's my honest answer from this conference is Navy's coach Brian Newberry. I think he's the best one.
Yeah. I mean, I think either him or the UNT guy who's now gone. So I'll go.
Can't vote on that. He left.
Payton. That's what I said.
I was surprised. I thought Jeff Traylor might get a shout in there.
No.
What was
I'm
UTSA's
not a
record this
Traylor
year?
fan.
They weren't very good, were they?
They've been trending down. I know he's gotten big interviews in the past. Like I think he was interviewed by A&M the cycle they hired Elko, but I'm not a fan.
Well, here you go. I'll take because Army just beat UTSA, so I'll go them.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm writing in Brian Newberry.
Sure.
All right, ACC. This one's a little bit tougher because like a lot of down performances.
James Franklin.
Yeah, I'm putting James Franklin in there. So James Franklin, Rhett Lashley, and I'll do.
There's a big one.
Okay, we're gonna do Dabo.
Bill
Wanna do
Belichick.
Dabo?
Oh, you're missing another big one. Dabo
You
should
want me to
also
do-
probably be in
You
here.
want me to do Cristobal?
No, not Crystal Ball either. Brent
I
Key.
know, I was
saying
Brent Key.
Fran Brown.
Oh, Brent Key.
Brent Key, not Fran Brown. There's a lot
Fran
of coaches I
Brown.
like in this conference, though. I like Fran Brown. Dabo is still Dabo. I won't doubt him just yet. I think he'll figure it out. Franklin, I do think is a good coach.
I think the answer is Franklin. I think it's him or Key.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wants to go Rhett Lashley. But
Nah.
I kind of can't get all the way there. He has some questionable in-game moments.
I was
but
going to
he's a
say
great
him and
play
Franklin
caller.
seem to share the blowing it in big games thing. So
Yeah, and Franklin's beaten Lashley. Granted, Penn State versus SMU isn't exactly fair. Fran Brown. I can't say Fran Brown after this year, but I am a fan of his.
Mhm.
I like Brent Key a lot. He might be my answer, but you could make the argument Faulkner, their OC, is the star of the show there, getting what he's gotten out of Haynes King. I'll agree with Knowlton here. I'll go Franklin. I still think Franklin is. I know he's lost the big games, but damn, he is pretty good at everything. I really,
yeah.
do
I don't
believe
think his recruiting. I think Dabo's the only one that can touch him in recruiting, and I think, yeah. I think
I'll
that's
go
good for them.
Franklin.
Okay. Big 12. Kenny Dillingham. Joey McGuire.
This is
And I
mean
don't
to
really
do.
know where else to go here. Kyle.
I know where
Whittingham?
I'd go.
Go.
I'd go Fritz at Houston.
Okay. I was thinking about it, but I
Oh,
wasn't.
that's a good one.
Fritz is a winner. He's won everywhere he's been. I believe in his recruiting chops. He development monster he is as well. I'll stick with Dillingham for now.
Okay.
Because he's accomplished the most at a program that was completely dead when he took it over.
I think it's a hard comparison because Willie Fritz has so much just like he's been around for longer and he's won at more levels. But yeah, I like
He's only been in the Big 12 2 years.
I'm a really, really big, this is really a stupid moment that sold me, but when Arizona State stormed the field after they beat, I think it was BYU, and they interviewed, and it was Kenny Dillingham, like yelling at everyone and getting hyped. And like, I've heard him on a couple, I love Kenny Dillingham. It's hard to talk me out of him. I think he's really good. I think he'll bounce back after
Scratch
this year.
that. I'm going with Matt Campbell. I totally forgot he was in this conference.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I'm going Matt Campbell. That program, I don't think people realize how impossible it is to do what he's done there. So I'm going back. Matt Campbell was so good he was getting NFL interviews.
They have a big in-state battle with recruiting too there, and
yeah. I mean, look, he's not. You're gonna look at the recruiting rankings at Iowa State and not be blown away. Go drive through Ames, Iowa. Okay, and you try and pitch it to high school.
I'm sticking with Dillingham, but that's a fair argument.
You could talk me into Dillingham. I'm gonna go with Campbell.
Okay. Last one, Big Ten. There's a couple names, but I'll give you three: Kurt Signetti, Ryan Day, Dan Lanning.
I'm going Signetti all the way. I 100% believe in that.
I'm not. I love Kirk Signetti. My pick is Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning is my favorite coach in college football. I think similar to kind of the Franklin thing, there's some big game stuff with him. He kind of got owned by DeBoer when they were both in the Pac-12. There was, they lost the revenge game to Ohio State last year. But I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast, how Dan Lanning's used his Missouri connections to recruit. I think his scheme is good. I mean, Dante Moore's been awesome for Oregon this year. So you talk about, development and getting the right guys. I my pick is him, but you can convince me with Kirk Signetti. I will never pick Ryan Day for any accolade. I don't like that guy. No, with all, I guess I said no offense, but I just said I don't like him. So I guess that's kind of offense, but
a year ago right now, I did not think Ryan Day would be the head coach in January.
Right. Like it was there were articles written when he lost that game to Michigan last year that was it. That was a nail in the coffin. Yeah. He was done.
I thought he was done, but I mean, credit to him for turning around. I got to go with Signetti though. I mean, he's been there 2 years and Indiana is in the Big Ten title game for the first time in history. That's unbelievable.
I'll stick with Lanning, but I'm not going to argue against Kirk Signetti either.
Oh, I thought that was a fun experiment. Thought you guys did a good job.
Honorable mention, Marcus Freeman, join a damn conference, Notre Dame. Join a conference.
Marcus Freeman would be one I put in the Kirby Smart tier.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
But they're not in a conference, so they're not allowed to be part of an exercise. Tigers in the Wild. Kenny, you guys didn't notice, but you both just did like this at the same time. You just did the same motion. There was some in sync there. That was funny.
There we go. Kenny copying me again. Boo-hoo.
What was the motion?
Well, it was you guys both. I don't know. You like either brushed your hair aside or did something. Oh,
I rubbed my eye.
That wasn't the or that. You both went like this. What's your Tiger in the Wild?
My Tiger in the Wild. Speaking of special teams, and I had told myself from not bringing this up during the football segment, but Henry Crosby played in the Arkansas game, the backup long snapper. I know there was some issues there. People are getting a little frustrated too with Brett LeBlanc. He had 2 botched snaps in that game against Arkansas, and Henry Crosby took the final 2, one on a punt and one on a field goal.
I was wondering when you were going to say this. I thought it was coming during the football segment, so there you go.
Credit to Henry. He earned it by virtue of not being Brett LeBlanc yesterday.
Your Tiger, Payton.
My Tiger in the Wild, because I really couldn't find anything else, is going to be Auburn, the Tigers, or Eagles, however you want to say it. The Auburn Tigers for this thought exercise. Hires South Florida's Alex Golesh to 6-year deal as coach. This comes from Max Olson at ESPN. Kind of a weird one because I honestly thought this was like the last open SEC job Golesh would end up at. Him and Sumrall wound up at Florida. I honestly thought they'd flip flop. I thought Sumrall would make more sense at Auburn, and Golesh would make more sense at Florida. Didn't happen that way. I think Golesh. I mentioned it like after the Drinkwitz extension. He would have been my guy that I wanted Mizzou to hire had they lost Drinkwitz. Again, very glad based off how the last few days ago Missouri was completely pulled out of the cycle, because I don't think Missouri would have wound up with a good hire or one that would have been satisfying.
Yeah, this was really fun. There's more coaching stuff we'll bring up later. This is a really fun carousel to sit back and watch, knowing there was, the school that we do this show about had no involvement. That was nice. That was nice. I'm sure it was nice for all the beat writers too, to not have to sweat that out over the Thanksgiving period. Eli Drinkwitz wasn't taking a meeting at allegedly 8 a.m. that turned into 6 p.m. or whatever. More on that later. I won't cut it off. My Tigers in the wild. Missouri women's basketball also had a busy last few days. They were in the Fort Myers tip-off, and when we last left off, they had just lost to Troy. Not great, and we've done this thing. I'm now going to just call this the Jackson State versus Eastern Washington response whenever either of the basketball programs lose to a mid-major, and then how they bounce back from it. They lost to Troy and then proceeded to rip off 3 wins, including a Power 5 win at the Fort Myers tip-off over Northwestern, 85-70, beat Bradley 73-66, and Wazoo 71-54. Some highlights: Grace Slaughter, she got her career high against Northwestern, passed 1,000 career points. She has 65 points in the last 3 games for Mizzou. Also led them against Bradley with 19 and had 13 against Wazoo. Shannon Dowell had a double-double in that game, 20 points, 10 rebounds. Slaughter also had 14 rebounds in the game against Bradley. So a couple of three good games, good way to bounce back. I also have some stats for you guys. I was just looking at now that we're 7-8 games into the season, where Missouri is kind of standing on a couple of things. They are 4th in the country in 3-point percentage. Not 4th, sorry, 6th. 40.8%. Still very good shooting from 3. And then I thought you guys would find this funny. So I was looking at at some of the stats just across the board, and I was looking at rebounding. Missouri is top 10 in the country in defensive rebounding, 31.4 per game. They only average 39.6 rebounds a game, which means they average 8 offensive rebounds a game. The teams ahead of them in the defensive rebounding category, their total rebounds are all 46 or higher. So a very funny rebounding discrepancy.
That's quirky. I wonder,
Yeah.
I guess that has to do a lot with probably the 3-point percentage. Like if they're shooting a lot of threes, a lot of long misses, I guess.
Well, if
Interesting.
if that's the case for Missouri, it is not the case for the only other team that is in the top 10 in defensive rebounding and averages less than 10 offensive rebounds, because it's North Dakota, who's at 33.1 defensive rebounds, 6.5 offensive rebounds. They are shooting 22.4% from 3. So they're not making a lot of shots. And they have kind of quirky rebound numbers too, but I thought that's my funny basketball stat for the pod.
I believe this also got Kelly Harper to 400 career wins. I think I saw Mizzou women's. Yeah, so they tweeted that out. Also, funny thing I noticed just while we have the ESPN page up. If you take a look on the right at the SEC standings, only 3 teams currently with 2 losses, but look at the one Missouri is ahead of, Tennessee.
Seems they may miss a coach.
Some trouble at the Summit.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Rocky.
And Kelly Harper, 400th career win.
Makes you think, Kenny, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It might have behooved Tennessee.
That was good, Kenny. Kicked him out if you're not watching on the YouTube. Missouri next has its ACC SEC Challenge game. They play Cal, which is who the men played last year. That is December 4th at 8, SEC Network. So be tuned in for that. See how they do against back-to-back Power 5 opponents. Shout out to Fort Myers tip-off too. I went to that once over in Florida.
Shout out Fort Myers in general. Shout out Florida, Boca Raton, Kenny. Show your hat.
Hey.
FAU, yeah.
Again, more on FAU and an associated member of their program in a minute.
We're all connecting the dots right now.
Headlines, Kenny.
My headline comes from On3 AP poll top 25 college football rankings. See shakeup after week 14. I was not expecting this, but your Missouri Tigers, you guys, Jack Knowlton, Payton Joseph Haverman, your Missouri Tigers back in the AP top 25 at number 25. Only team with 12 losses.
Thank you,
right
AP
in front
voters.
of Tennessee. Take that. We stand on business, Josh.
Yeah, they got smoked by Vandy. That was awesome. I saw a student crying in the crowd, and the broadcaster was laughing. And I think Tom Hart was on that game, and he was like, "Why are you laughing?" It's like, "I'm not laughing at her." It was kind of a funny clip.
It's kind of crazy because Vandy went 10-2. Their only 2 losses being Alabama and Texas.
Yep.
And there's just no buzz around them making it. And I think that is a shame.
I read somewhere
that team's very good.
I read somewhere that this week was the 4th week in a row that teams ranked 4th to 14th in the CFP poll all won. So good luck to the committee. In that respect, I'm sort of like Missouri, not a part of the fold. And you don't have to worry about that drama. So that's going to be pretty chaotic.
Yeah, most of the debate is like around Vanderbilt, Texas,
Notre
BYU,
Dame's in
Miami,
there.
Notre Dame,
Alabama, if they don't beat Georgia, is another one that could slip out.
If Alabama were to lose, I think there's zero world that exists where they should, and I don't think they will. They should not drop at all for losing to Georgia in the SEC title game, unless something drastic like they get Cardale Jones in the title game.
Jordan Travis.
But I had to bring that up. But there's just no way Alabama should fall out at this point to me. And I think I'd give that other spot to Notre Dame. My next one out would be BYU, I think.
Yeah, which is tough for them too. I mean,
I feel bad for BYU because I do think they've done enough to deserve it, but I don't see it, and I kind of don't believe they're better than Notre Dame.
What if BYU beats Texas Tech?
I know, but no, they are they in the title game?
Isn't it BYU Texas Tech?
BYU Texas Tech.
Okay, so they could win that anyways. That I mean, even if they lose that game, they're 11 in Texas Tech this year. Which is
you haven't even mentioned the most nuts one, which is what the hell happens if 7-5 Duke beats Virginia and wins the ACC title? Absolutely criminal.
Then you're getting 2 G5s. I don't think you're getting Duke in.
I agree. You could have a James Madison and a North Texas, and you have
or real chaos scenario like James Madison. Because I mean, if North Texas loses to Tulane's going to get in.
Right. But if James Madison loses to Troy,
if James Madison loses to Troy, you're probably looking at like UNLV and North Texas or something.
Absolutely insane.
Dan Mullen in the playoffs. How about that before Florida makes it? Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
I want that to happen now that I've thought of that. Why don't we move on?
I'm excited to see how we'll definitely talk all about it after the final rankings come out and all that stuff, and it'll be pretty crazy. Peyton, your headline.
All right, my headline. We've finally made it, everybody. Lane Kiffin releases statement on taking LSU job, confirms he wanted to coach Ole Miss through CFP. This comes from Nick Costco at On3. Yep, this is, you guys might have heard about it. Lane Kiffin took the LSU job, and boy, was it an ugly, ugly schism on his way out the door. So he won the Egg Bowl. It kind of became like an open secret that he was going to take the LSU job. The hang-up became him really wanting to coach Ole Miss through the playoffs. Ole Miss, to their credit, and I think the more and more that comes out about this, I really don't blame them. They kind of stood for him like, no, you're the LSU coach now. You can go. It caused a pretty, there were reports that Kiffin kind of gave an ultimatum to his staff, like, you're either getting on the plane with me or you're not coming to LSU. That kind of led to the defensive staff just kind of taking the stand. Pete Golding got named the permanent head coach. They bypassed the interim. I mean, Lane Kiffin left, and later that afternoon, they just made Pete Golding the head coach. And I did not know this. Ole Miss, they, like, all of those guys love him. I mean, like, there was like a resounding positive reaction for that. Like, I guess because Kenny might be able to speak more on this than me, but I guess Pete Golding's the main point of contact in recruiting. I think everyone kind of knew Lane's not like a big high school recruiter, but I didn't realize Golding had that big of an impact. So yeah, crazy times we're living in. And I know a lot of people are doing the whole, well, this is a calendar thing. Like, this is the CFP calendar rearing its ugly head. I'm not giving Lane Kiffin that avenue out. I think this is a crummy thing to do, a pretty petty way to exit. And I've been a Lane Kiffin guy. I mean, I think Lane Kiffin's hilarious. I think he's an excellent coach. I like Lane Kiffin, but I don't love the way he exited Ole Miss. It was a pretty ugly exit to mark an end to a really unbelievably good tenure there.
Good take on the piece about with the CFP. I know the Kirk Herbstreit clip went viral and people were kind of dunking on him for saying that Ole Miss should let him and be like, oh, they're having a remarkable season. It's like, no, this guy doesn't want to be with you for the future. I wouldn't want him, there for the most important part of the season if he doesn't want to be there long term. I agree with you there. Yeah, messy, absolutely chaotic situation there with him taking that job. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Kenny. Wild stuff. Payton summarized it.
History repeats itself. I really wish that we had a bigger like social media presence, and social media is pretty. I feel like I'll walk that back. Sometimes I wish I lived in a world without social media, but I wish there was social media when he left Tennessee, because I really wanted to see what that response was then. I know there was, still platforms out there, but it's not to the extent that it is now, of course. And so I would want to have seen the comparisons of those reactions, but watching the videos of people standing outside the airport, yelling at him, yelling at his family, yelling at Charlie Weiss, and all the other staffers that might be getting on those planes and leaving. I mean, it's unprecedented. I mean, like, to see something like this, you're just saying goodbye, to an opportunity to possibly have a statue at this school. And I think that's one thing that's kind of stuck with me as a recruit told me that. It's like, if you keep doing this, if Lane keeps doing what he's doing, Ole Miss will love him forever. They will name something after him. They will give him a statue, give him some kind of recognition in that stadium forever. And that bridge is burned to the ground. I think it's easy as that.
Yeah, good point. Good point. It is like a legacy thing, and now you're going to go to their rival that game. I don't know. Do they play next year? I don't know if they
yes,
do.
They do.
Okay.
And I think it's at Ole Miss.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. That will be cinema. Game day is going to go to that. That'll LSU, of course. Go ahead.
Also plays at Tennessee.
Oh wow.
Woo.
There you go. That'll be cinema. That'll of course be when Mizzou has like a ranked game against someone good, and we want game day. It's like, oh, never mind. They're definitely going to go to Ole Miss, LSU. Yeah, wild stuff. Wild stuff. A lot of the coaching dust is all pretty much settled, especially with that one. My headline of the week, as has been tradition now for me, college football bowl projections, week 14, full list of matchups and playoff scenarios. Shout out to Brett McMurphy. He was one of, I assembled my weekly bowl projections. He has Mizzou.
This is a week old.
Did I pick the one from last week? Oh, I thought it was the updated one.
No, it's okay. I can pull up the other one if you want this.
Yeah, do the current one. Sorry, I thought I copied the right article. That's on me. Brett's got Missouri in the Mayo Bowl against Louisville. Not much of a change to what he had last week, just the opponent. I think he had Wake Forest last week. Other projections, Athlon, I think, also had the Mayo against Louisville. I have to make things right. It was not Yahoo who had the messed up projection for Mizzou in the Vegas Bowl. It was the Sporting News, and they still had it. They still have the Vegas against Cal for Mizzou, which Payton confirmed
can't happen.
Can't happen. So
that out there.
I don't know. They still got it. So sorry to Yahoo. I had the wrong outlet there. CBS had the best one, in my opinion. They had the Texas against Iowa State. ESPN, the Music City against Nebraska. So,
What was the other one? They have 2 people doing it.
Oh, I only clicked that one. Let me check. Stand by.
I'll discuss the ones for now.
I want Texas. Texas Bowl is my lead pick right now.
I want Texas because it's easy to go to. I will say if they're going to get Mayo, it does seem like that's still a popular one. I would prefer they get like Clemson. Louisville is probably the next best option for that bowl. The ACC has a lot of crummy teams. I don't want to see them play. Just please don't give Mizzou Duke or something. And then Duke's in the ACC title game, so that might affect it in some way. I've not once seen Miami projected in the in the Mayo Bowl, so I wouldn't hold my breath for that. I will say there's like an interesting dilemma here. The SEC may not have enough teams to fill out the pool of 6 just because of the amount of bowl eligible teams they have. A lot of them are going to be in the playoffs, especially with Alabama winning. But Auburn fell short of bowl eligibility. South Carolina didn't get there. Arkansas didn't get there. So there are a few teams short. Obviously, the Citrus Bowl is going to be filled by an SEC team. That's the best non-playoff bowl there is now. But then you get down into the pool of 6, which is like your ReliaQuest, your Gator, those types of bowls. Texas is in there. Duke's Mayo is in there. The SEC may not have enough spots to fill those out. And I believe it's Duke's Mayo and Liberty are typically the 2 kind of lowest on that totem pole. So there is a chance that the SEC just doesn't send a team to Mayo. Again, it's completely up to the discretion of the bowls to pick who they want, but that's an interesting wrinkle I'd just throw in there. If Missouri has its way, I do think they'll get into kind of like the more Texas Bowl range than the Mayo Bowl range.
The other prediction was Duke in the Mayo Bowl for ESPN.
Nope, don't want it.
There you go. Payton, do you have a joke to finish the show?
Actually, Jack, I have a ratio. Yes, because we didn't mention one of these hires, and we didn't mention Ryan Silverfield to Arkansas. Yes, we saw the end of the Petrino era. Maybe you can call it an error at this point. They didn't win a game at Arkansas. Hunter Yurachek posted a GIF of like red smoke coming out from outside of Arkansas's football stadium. I forget the name of it. Kind of like
Reynolds Razorback.
Is it Reynolds? Yeah. That was just I think he tweeted it after it got announced, like the news was broken that it was going to be Memphis coach Ryan Silverfield. Arkansas fans were not happy. There was a mini protest outside of one of the buildings there. Yeah, Kenny, if you could scroll back up, the ratio he got here was 1.4 replies, 1.4 thousand replies, 342 quote/retweets, and 955 likes, 122 bookmarks. So not a good ratio there. Kenny
123
added a bookmark for us.
Oh, never mind.
But yeah, that's Arkansas. They made a pretty middling hire. I'd be very shocked if Silverfield kind of turns that ship around without some major investments into the program. But Hunter Yurachek didn't care. He the Arkansas AD just went ahead and tweeted right through it.
Sometimes it's all
Can I ask a question?
What's your question?
What makes Silverfield such a bad hire?
I think what a lot of people don't like, and this is when I was like putting together my whole the Payton is no big board. Silverfield is at his school. It was at a school in Memphis that was far and away one of the most well-funded G5 programs in the business. He did not ever really capitalize on it. His record against above 500 teams was pretty ghastly, if I remember. It wasn't a hire that inspired a lot of confidence. It's not like he inherited a great situation. Norvell did a great job at Memphis. I mean, his first game he coached was the Cotton Bowl, against Penn State, I believe. when Norvell left to take Florida State. So he inherited a great situation. He was given great funding for G5 standards and never really did a whole ton with it. I mean, it's not like they've been bad. Far from it. They've been a very steady, solid program. They've won a couple really nice games. They beat Iowa State in a bowl game a couple years ago. But it's just not a hire that you look at and go, this guy's going to translate to an SEC school that is given by comparative standards very little amounts of funding compared to the rest of the conference.
Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, I was just in a spot where, I think everyone wanted Alex Golesh, and there was that report that came out that Alex Golesh got that. So I think that also probably upset a lot of people. But I always think about it too. It's like, how are you going to know if this is going to be a good hire? You don't know it's a good hire until 3 years from now. What's the average lifespan of a coach that gets fired really quickly? 3 or 4 seasons? We won't really know.
And I mean, that's the thing with coaching hires are at times it just feels completely random. I mean, you couldn't find a person on planet Earth that thought Scott Frost to Nebraska after his first UCF tenure was not going to be an absolute home run. And it was borderline a joke at the end of the day. And I mean, he was canned pretty unceremoniously there. It is all kind of random at the end of the day. But I don't know. You gotta try and make an educated decision. And I don't look at Silverfield as a guy that I think will translate well to success at Arkansas.
It's a good point too. If there was another guy that was reportedly going to get the job that people wanted more, it's never gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Womack was really into that. Into that search. I think they wanted Eric Morris really bad. I don't know if they ever even offered him or anything. Obviously, I'm not an insider, but that's just I read the tea leaves.
What would your insider name be? Like Trilly Donovan, if you were. What would you name yourself? Like how he's got the Trilly Donovan, or is there a football one? Forget who the main football one is.
There's that dog.
I was gonna say the dog. Yeah, the PFT comments, and you guys are bar stools.
No, there's another one. It's like the old Budweiser dog.
Oh, yes, I know who you're talking about. Ricky, I think is
Ricky.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about like PFT.
You'll have to think about who your alias will be.
Something.
You have to make one for yourself. But do you also have a joke?
I think I'd go Payton is no troll.
It's great, man.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for
We'll come up with one for you.
Yeah.
That'll be an off-season task.
Anyways, this one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Guys, what do cake and baseball have in common? This one's for you, Kenny. What do cake and baseball have in common?
Batter.
Yep, they both need a batter. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Shout out to
Sarah Lemire for writing
this
article that I've used for well over 2 years now.
Thank you, Sarah. That will do it.
Why are you shaking your head, Kenny? Thank you.
We'll be back
Sarah.
Friday. All right, man. We'll be back Friday. We will have some more football talk, probably some more men's basketball talk. My webcam has decided to become blurry, so thanks for that. We'll talk. We'll recap the Notre Dame game, preview Kansas. There you go. You're much more in focus. This is a way better look at. We will preview Kansas and recap the Notre Dame game on Friday's show. Thank you so much for watching. Now you just stopped. All right, bye.